Hello, cyclocross friends, and welcome to Little Lake Park in Midland, Ontario. We are here for the women's elite race of the Pan Ameircan Championships. It is November 10th, and it is a cold day in Midland, Ontario. We've gone through all kinds of weather. We've gone through rain and sleet and snow, and here we are finally at the start line for our women's elite race. We're looking at the champ from last year and the current Canadian champ. That was Magali Rochette. Also saw Clara Hansinger in there. There's Becca Farringer's coming up to the start line. She's another favorite in our race, as well as Courtney McFadden rolling up. Ellen Noble, haven't seen her in a while, looking to have a good race coming back to it. Sammy Runnels, also one of our favorites, as all of our women's field makes it in there. And here we go. We're at the start. Ellen Noble with the whole shot. Out fast from the start. You can see the wet ground. It's going to be a sloppy day here at Little Lake Park. Coming around the first bend, we're still in the start. We are about 10 seconds into this race, and Magali Rochette already going to the front. Did not take her long. She is leading from the front. She wants to win races from the front almost every week. That's the plan. It's not much of a strategy. Go out front and keep it. Noble looks like she's giving her a little bit of a challenge there, but already just 25 seconds into this race, and Magali Rochette already has a couple bike lengths lead over the rest of the field. They just passed by pit one, going away from the beach area now. This course is about 4 sectors, and what they're into now, if you look at it from left to right, they are going to be on the right-hand side. So if you are in the lake looking at the course, they are going to the right-hand side of that course now. It's more of a long, swoopy section, nothing too exciting going on in there. They get through that section, then they come to here. This is the entrance to the run-up. There aren't any planks on this course, but you have several dismounts. We have 3 staircases, 1 run-up, and then some muddy off-cambers. So it's a lot of time off the bike, even though there aren't necessarily any barriers on course. Magali Rochette making it up there first. We got Clara Hansinger in second. Becca Farringer, Ellen Noble there. Courtney McFadden. Sammy Runnels making her way up there. Canadian hopeful Jen Jackson up there as well. Emily Werner, Raylan Nuss, Crystal Anthony. Those are your leaders early on in this first lap of this Pan Ameircan Championship race. Magali Rochette already with a beach of lead back to second place, which is Clara Hansinger. Hansinger putting in a good effort, trying to chase down Rochette. She has been in this position for, even just go back to the beginning of the season, Rochester, New York. On day 2, Hansinger was the person who said, hey guys, we got to go chase down Magali Rochette, and she went to the front and tried to do it and was the closest in there. So this is really a replay of what we've been seeing all season long with this North American field. Rochette going out early, playing the rabbit, and everybody else trying to chase. When I was talking about our sectors from left to right, we're now on the far left-hand side of this course, and this is going to be this off-camber section. When we saw the men's race on this section, everybody was dismounting. It was super slimy, and you had to get off your bike right at this point here. Rochette, in this race, able to stay on. It's tacked up. It's really nice riding through there. So where this was a dismount for the men, and you see Hansinger getting off and running it there, but Rochette able to cleanly ride that. That's going to be an advantage for her this whole day. Starting out early, already extending her lead. We are still just in this first lap, but we're in our off-camber sectors. Once she comes around this next turn and dives down, she's going to be to the staircase section of it. This is the second staircase. There's one double wide staircase below. We come to this one. This is the second set of stairs, and then she's going to run for about 5 seconds more, and then she's going to be up on the third set of stairs. Here's Hansinger coming in second. We got Farringer chasing her down. McFadden's right there in fourth place. That seems to be, Jen Jackson also coming in there. Top 5 making their way up the staircase. It's already spread out on lap 1. Rochette's already sort of blown up this field as this becomes strung out. We got Sammy Runnels coming up there. Also Ellen Noble in the last member of our lead group. Coming back around to the end of the first lap. This is Rochette taking a little look over her right-hand shoulder and not seeing anyone there in the drop. She's just going to keep motoring along, dieseling, trying to get as big a lead as she wants. This is a goal for her. She had several goals this year. One was to win a World Cup. She took care of that early on. in Iowa City at the Jingle Cross World Cup. She already repeated as Canadian national champion. That happened last week. Had a good battle with Jen Jackson, who's coming into our picture right there. She wants to be the leader of the World Cup. I'm sure World Championships is a big goal for her as well. But right now, repeating as Pan Ameircan Championship, that's a box that she wants to check off, and she's doing a great job of it right here as she comes towards pit 1. Got Hansinger in second place. And these sections look innocuous, but they're really not. This is some of the most slippery sections of the course. It's really greasy. It's the place that you can lose a couple seconds just by having to put a foot out and a foot down and getting your momentum back, because you're coming right into one of the biggest power sections on the course after this, as we see Jen Jackson go through pit 1 and all the way up until that far right-hand side with those sort of uphill swoopy sections is just flat and fast. You see a Hansinger by pit 1, Farringer trying to chase her back down. She's looking to catch back up with Hansinger. You see Farringer just shaking out her left hand. This is an issue that we've been seeing all day long for our Pan Ameircan Championship races. It is cold out there. You know, it's right around freezing, a little just hovering right around the freezing point, and it's really not that's affecting the riders. It's more that it is so damp and clammy, and I think it's that kind of cold that gets into your bones that it's really hard to shake out. So we've heard, reports of numb feet and numb hands and numb fingers, which makes it that much harder to control your bike and pedal, and that's what we were seeing with Farringer early with just shaking out that left hand there. They're going towards the run-up section. Got McFadden here still hanging on in fourth place. To the run-up, we're going to, Rochette is long gone, and we got Hansinger making it up there. It looks like Farringer has closed down the gap a little bit to Hansinger. That should be a pretty good battle for second and third place. McFadden would love to join that battle as well. She is in fourth place. Coming up right behind her, Jen Jackson. And then it looks like Sammy Runnels in the distance there, trying to close the gap to Jackson. Onto the beach. This is a section we haven't talked about yet. You get this quick U-turn section. You can see McFadden just sort of dipping in there as we're watching Hansinger and Farringer come down. They come off that U-turn. They go onto the grass for a little while, and then they make these turns into these U-turns back onto the sand section. The sand, there's a little rut there that Hansinger just went through that she had no problem with. And there's a little rut coming onto the exit of the sand, which goes into pit 2. And those are the only semi-tricky, and for riders of this level, it's not even tricky at all. The sand really isn't a factor. Last year at the Pan Ameircan Championships, this sand was tough. It was really fluffy. It was deep. They were just, they were churning through it. It was getting all into the bike. But if it's so wet this year, that's not an issue. As we see Raylan Nuss coming through, it's really just a fast, hard-packed section through that sand. So that really took that feature of this course that we saw last year and just nullified it, where it's not even a factor, not even something that these riders are worried about. Last year they're out there, they're reconning the sand, riding the sand over and over again. This year, the section that they're riding over and over again is the one that we're getting to. It's these off cambers right here, and we see that Rochette has it dialed. We saw last lap, and we'll see what happens if she's able to ride it. This time we saw Hansinger and Farringer both dismounting for this section where Rochette was riding it. Maybe they took a little peek ahead, saw Rochette was able to clean it, no problem. And yeah, that's it. Look at this. Oh, Farringer getting hooked up a little bit on that stake, making the turn a little too tight, but both second and third place, Hansinger and Farringer, able to ride that section as well. So that's key for them. That is something that is going to save them time as they go along this. For the riders, cyclocross, you have to get off your bike, but a lot of these riders would prefer to stay on the bike, especially in situations where it's faster. That section that they just did, definitely faster staying on the bike. As we come to the end of our chicanes, we see Courtney McFadden coming smoothly through here. If you saw the coverage of yesterday, the Saturday race, the Silver Goose CX, McFadden had her issues in that spot. So I'm sure it was something that she was concentrating going into this Pan Ameircan race and able to nail it there, as we're seeing Canadian Jen Jackson making her way up as well. Canadian National Championship, Jen Jackson, talking about Jen Jackson, she gave Rochette one of the closest battles that we've seen in a long time. They were going back and forth throughout that Canadian Championships until Rochette, who we're seeing here with 3 laps to go, was able to pull away in the end and take the win to get the Maple Leaf jersey for another year. Let's take a little look back at what her season's been like so far, because it's impressive. She swept Rochester Cyclocross. She won the World Cup in Iowa City, won the Jingle Cross C1 after that. Waterloo got a 5th place in that race. Fayette Cross one day won 7th place the second day, went to Bern in the World Cup, 11th place there, and then since coming back to North America, she has won every race she's been in. Cincy both days, Canadian National Championship, and Silver Goose yesterday. Oh, and here we go. Looking back at their fight for 2nd and 3rd, and Becca Farringer, who has been chasing down Clara Hansinger for the entire first 2 laps of this race, finally able to catch her and pass her, putting down some power in those slippery sections, able to keep it upright and going forward as she makes her way towards pit 1. And we see Hansinger had made it in front as we went to our run-up, but then stumbling as she runs out back is Farringer, the opportunity to go back in front once more. This is the battle here. 2nd and 3rd is really heating up. Here we go. We're taking a little look from above, and we see Maghalie Rochette on that sand section that we had talked about before. She's coming to the end of it. We're looking at pit 2, just coming into another power section. Everywhere near the water was just straight, flat, and an opportunity to click up into a harder gear and just push out the lead for Maghalie Rochette, getting her head down and just going. And she has this track dialed at this point. Doesn't hurt that everyone out here lined up watching this race is cheering for her. It's either Rochette or Jackson. Those are the 2 racers that the fans are just going nuts about every time that they come through. Getting another look here at the battle for 2nd and 3rd. Hansinger, after stumbling on the run-up, able to recover and go back in front. Farringer now a couple bike lengths back, but we still have plenty of time left in this race. But this is going to be the battle right here for silver and bronze. Not saying that first is in the bag for Rochette. She still has to finish off this race, but it's going to take something drastic to happen to her at this point in this race with the lead that she already has for either Hansinger or Farringer to catch up. As we come to our second section of off-cambers, it looks like Hansinger maybe getting a little better ride through this section, pulling out the lead a little more over Farringer. And this is one to watch. Farringer's going to has her work set out just to stay on Hansinger's wheel during these more technical sections. Looking up above, this is the final staircase. We talked about the 3 sets of stairs. This is the final one that Rochette is going up. And when she's already cleared that one, we're seeing Hansinger down below. This is the 2nd set of stairs that she is working on now. You can see that gap between her and Farringer for 3rd. And here is your leader going through the starting stretch. 2 laps to go. No one else even in the picture. It is all about Maghalie Rochette on this day. The feedback specialized rider as she makes her way into this more slippery section. She's got the left leg. Oh, a little bit of a bobble there. Almost had to come out of both pedals, but she's able to save it. She has plenty of time to recover and make sure that she maintains the lead. As we're looking at Rochette down lower, you can see up above that Hansinger just coming into the picture. So that was a good indication of that gap and just how big it is. That's got to be about a 30-second gap at this point between 1st and 2nd. Hansinger now the only one in the picture. We're going to have to pan back to see where Farringer is, and there she is coming up there. Farringer still trying to track down Hansinger, but it is starting to that gap is starting to build. A couple more seconds now than we saw just moments ago between Hansinger in 2nd and Farringer in 3rd place. She goes towards pit 1, and we pan over now. We see Jen Jackson. There is Jen Jackson looking to be, I believe that we might not have seen McFadden in there. So if 4th and 5th place, it looked like before it was McFadden and then Jackson. We'll have to get a check on that to see if that's still the case as Hansinger goes up and through, and Farringer right behind her in 3rd place. Back to the beach one more time. We're going to be able to ride along with Maghalie Rochette as she makes these turns easily into the sand section. Going to be heading towards pit 2. Pit 2 is where most were taking bikes. In this race, it didn't seem like there were a lot of bike changes that were necessary unless a mechanical was happening. They're definitely not getting muddy. Bikes are staying pretty clean, so unless there's just needing a clean machine. There really isn't anything that drastic. And just as I said, here we go. Here's Maghalie Rochette coming in for a bike change. A well-executed one-person exchange in the pits for Rochette. She gets a new machine. We got Hansinger coming in there, making the chicane up towards the pits as well. Hansinger not taking a bike, so she'll just get back onto it. She's a champ herself. She is definitely looking at Rochette, looking at the laps left, under 2 laps, but hey, why not? She's going to keep pushing. She's going to keep trying to close that gap and see if she can make this a race by the time we come to the end. Coming to these tricky off-camber sections again, a little different view of it. You get a good look at the footwork of Maghalie Rochette as she's up and on second place. Clara Hansinger coming to the same section. This is about 30 seconds after Rochette has already gone through. We're catching up with Hansinger in second place. And we should get a good idea of what the gap is back to third place with Becca Fahringer if she comes into the picture. And it looks like we're not even going to get to see her. We'll have to get that gap quicker. Oh, there she is, just at the end. So Hansinger clearing it, heading off towards the steps as Fahringer just making up the next to last set of chicanes on this tricky section. She's got just over a lap left to catch up and make it a race for second place. And here we go. 1 lap to go. Bell lap for Maghalie Rochette. Everything has gone to plan so far. She was able to get off. Look at it. She had that lead right from the beginning of the race. 10 seconds into the race, Ellen Noble had the whole shot. Maghalie Rochette came around, and it was just game over from there. She has not relinquished the lead. She's only grown the gap from her to the rest of the field. As she comes up towards pit 1 for the last time. This one is almost a victory lap for Maghalie Rochette. It's going to be a tough ask for anybody to catch her at this point. This is the woman that could do it. Clara Hansinger going all in. She's not worried about second place. She still thinks first place is possible, so she's going to give it all she has, but it is a big ask to try to get up to Maghalie Rochette, who is just riding away with this Continental Championship. Hansinger making her way through the slippy chicanes down towards pit 1. Here comes Fahringer. Fahringer really wants that silver medal. She's going to do all that she can to try to get back onto Hansinger's wheel. Little trickier coming through there. We saw Hansinger able to keep her feet in the pedals. We got Fahringer tripoding through that section as she makes her way towards pit 1 for the final time. That's first through third with about a half lap left. Here's your 4th place rider. It is McFadden. I think that we did miss her last time coming through. So Courtney McFadden at Pan Am's, she finishes 4th, and she's right there, slotted into 4th place again. I know she wanted to do better, try to get on that podium, but it just seems like when it comes to Pan American Championships, Courtney McFadden's going to be in 4th place. It looks like that's where she may end up again, but Jen Jackson's also behind her, looking to improve one more spot. Hansinger coming around the beach for the final time of this race, rushing down towards pit 2. Probably won't take a bike. There's really not much left after pit 2. We come to those chicane sections, which I'm sure we'll see in a second. Then it's the staircases, the drop, and it's just home and done. Here we are at our tricky chicanes. Final time through for Maghalie Rochette. This is just a carbon copy of what we've seen every lap through for Rochette. No problem getting through there. Smooth. The 4th and 5th laps look the same as the 1st and 2nd laps did for Maghalie Rochette. She is almost home. All she has to do is run up 3 more sets of stairs, drop down into the finish area, and enjoy her 2nd Pan American Championship. Hansinger also looking smooth, coming through our off-camber sections. A little spinning of the rear tire there to get it up, but really no issue. We pan back and we see the gap between Hansinger and 3rd place. This is the last step on the podium. Becca Fahringer having a good ride. Really no problem for her to hold on to that 3rd. You know that she wanted to give Hansinger the battle for it and take 2nd, but here we are. This is it. We're on the finishing stretch. This is your Pan American Championship for 2019. Maghalie Rochette, Feedback Specialized team, showing off that Specialized bike, taking the win with ease. almost like a training ride out there for Rochette. She's got to be happy with that one. Came in here with the mission and accomplished that mission, no problem. Clara Hansinger coming in for second place. First year in the elites for Clara Hansinger. Was tearing up the U23s before this and showing that she is going to be a force to reckon with in coming years. Clara Hansinger, second place. Becca Farringer. Farringer has had an amazing ride in North America this year. One of the strongest in North America for third place. And this is your top 11. Here it is. Top 11 for your 2019 Pan Ameircan Championships Women's Elite Race. Thanks so much for joining us. This is Bill Scheiken for CXHAIRS and the Wide Angle Podium. Go check out the CX Heat Check on the CXHAIRS YouTube channel. Subscribe to that channel. You'll get caught up on everyone who is in the top 11 in the power rankings at the CX Heat Check. We'll see you soon, cyclocross friends.